For as long as we have existed, we've looked up at the night sky and felt the pull of it. The stars have never just been lights. They have been questions. Each one asks whether our small world is the limit of what life can become. We have always been wanderers. From the first humans who crossed continents to the explorers who crossed oceans, our story has been written in motion. Now, for the first time, our horizon is not another piece of land or sea. It's the universe itself. But living in space will not simply be an engineering triumph. It will be a transformation of who we are. It will demand that we rethink survival, society, and even the meaning of home. The first steps are already underway. Rockets have become reusable. Satellites connect the planet in real time. What once belonged only to governments now lies in the hands of private companies and collaborative projects. Each launch, each experiment, is a rehearsal for something far greater, a permanent human presence beyond Earth. Yet the leap from visiting space to living there is vast. To survive, we will need to build self-sustaining systems, worlds within worlds. Every breath, every drop of water, every seed will have to be managed in closed loops. Nothing can be wasted. Nothing can be taken for granted. Energy will come first. Above the atmosphere, sunlight falls with unbroken intensity. Vast arrays of lightweight panels or mirrors will harvest it, feeding orbital industries and habitats. Later, fusion, if we master it, will give us near-limitless power. With abundant energy, scarcity will begin to fade. Then comes matter. Launching materials from Earth will always be costly, so we will turn outward, to asteroids and moons rich in metals, ice, and dust. Autonomous miners will gather resources, feeding orbital foundries that forge the skeletons of new habitats. In time, the first cities in space will grow not from what we carry upward, but from what we find already waiting there. Each habitat will be an ecosystem of discipline. Walls will separate air from vacuum by only a few centimeters. Every molecule of oxygen, every gram of soil will circulate through delicate networks of filters, tanks, and roots. The people who live there will measure life not by abundance but by balance. They will learn that survival depends not on endless growth but on perfect recycling. This discipline will shape a new culture. Waste will feel immoral, and efficiency will feel beautiful. Cooperation will become instinct, because no one can afford to fail alone. The smallest act of negligence could threaten thousands. In such a world, empathy and responsibility will no longer be virtues. They will be physics. From that necessity will emerge an ethic of interdependence. We will discover that freedom in space is not the ability to act without limits. It is the ability to act wisely within them. Responsibility will become the highest form of liberty. As we learn to live in closed loops, we will also rediscover connection. On Earth, nature surrounds us invisibly. In space, it will be something we build. Our gardens will glow inside transparent domes. Algae walls will breathe with us, converting our carbon dioxide into oxygen and food. The boundary between biology and technology will blur until both become parts of a single living system. Through that system, we'll gain a new humility. Life will no longer be background. It will be the central technology of civilization. Every leaf, every drop, will remind us that survival is collaboration. Radiation and gravity will remain constant challenges. Shielding our habitats will require layers of water and rock, while rotating structures will mimic the pull of Earth. Our bodies may adapt over generations, bones thickening or thinning, senses recalibrating to dimmer light and different rhythms. Evolution will continue, guided by both biology and intention. Yet the most profound adaptation will be mental. The people born away from Earth will see the universe differently. For them, the night sky will not be an unreachable dome, but their neighborhood. Up and down will be fluid concepts. Their myths and metaphors will evolve, shaped by stars instead of horizons. As communities multiply, so will their identities. Mars will teach patience and resilience. Orbital rings will teach precision and cooperation. Each world will sculpt its own culture, and together they will form a mosaic of human experience richer than anything we have known. But expansion will also test our ethics. Space is not empty. It is full of chemistry, potential, and perhaps life. Every world we touch carries its own story. To build on them is to edit those stories forever. The temptation to terraform, to turn Mars into a second Earth, will be powerful. But before we transform any planet, we must learn to listen to it. We may find microbes beneath Martian ice or strange chemistries in the oceans of Europa. Whether living or merely possible, they deserve respect. The first rule of a spacefaring civilization must be humility, to do no harm to life we did not create. Exploration should mean participation, not conquest. Even barren worlds hold value. They are records of cosmic history written in stone and ice. Mining or altering them carelessly would be like burning an ancient library to warm ourselves. Our presence must add understanding, not erasure. Technology can guide us toward restraint. We can extract metals from asteroids rather than planets, study alien environments through robotics before setting foot on them. Yet technology will only reflect the morality that wields it. We must choose to become caretakers rather than consumers. In time, stewardship could replace ownership as our guiding principle. A planet, a moon, a habitat, none will truly belong to anyone. They will be entrusted to those who maintain them. The measure of civilization will shift from how much we build to how gently we inhabit what we build. This awareness will deepen as we move outward. Every new colony will extend the web of life, but also the web of responsibility. Actions taken on one world will ripple through the rest. Pollution, debris, and neglect will not respect distance. To remain stable, humanity will need governance that treats the solar system as a single ecological whole. That idea, ecology at a planetary scale, will become the moral spine of our species. It will teach us that every breath we take is part of a larger equation. The same oxygen we exhale on Mars may someday nourish a garden in orbit. The same data that guides a miner in the asteroid belt may prevent disaster on Earth. The boundaries between here and there will dissolve into continuity. And through this continuity, something extraordinary will happen. Perspective. From orbit, the divisions that dominate us fade away. There are no borders, no nations, only the delicate swirl of clouds over blue oceans. Living among the stars will make that view permanent. It will remind us that humanity's conflicts have always been temporary compared to the scale of creation. We will begin to think in centuries, not years, in ecosystems, not empires. Education will emphasize systems over silos, how every field, every mind connects. Children will learn orbital mechanics beside ethics, biology beside philosophy. They will grow up fluent in the language of balance. As our perspective expands, so will our sense of beauty. On Earth, beauty is abundance, forests, oceans, light. In space, beauty will be precision, the shimmer of recycled water, the glow of an algae wall, the symmetry of orbits. We will learn to see elegance in restraint and grace in functionality. And from that appreciation, a new form of spirituality may arise. Not one that looks for gods in the heavens, but one that feels divinity in the act of creation itself. To maintain a living system against the vacuum will feel sacred. The engineer tightening a seal and the botanist nurturing a sprout will share the same prayer, let it hold, let it grow. Art will echo that reverence. Music will be composed for the acoustics of domes. Painting will use materials born of regolith and light. Every creative act will celebrate survival as beauty. The universe will become our canvas, but the message will stay humble. We are not separate from the cosmos. We are one of its ways of understanding itself. Eventually, as technology stabilizes and fear fades, expansion will quicken. Habitats will circle the moon and the inner planets. Orbital cities will glow like necklaces across the night sky. Mars will bloom with enclosed valleys of green. None of this will happen overnight. It will take generations. But each generation will inherit a little more confidence, a little more permanence. And in that slow unfolding, humanity will find its maturity. We will realize that the goal was never to escape Earth. It was to learn from it, to carry its lessons outward. The fragility of our planet will have taught us stewardship. The vastness of space will teach us perspective. Together, they will shape a civilization capable of surviving not through dominance, but through harmony. Becoming a multi-world species will change how we measure success. It will not be the number of colonies we build or the wealth we extract, but the continuity we maintain, the ability to keep life thriving across impossible distances. Progress will be defined by equilibrium. And someday, when the first child born on another world looks up and sees Earth as a faint blue spark in the dark, they will not feel loss. They will feel connection. They will know that every heartbeat, whether on a planet, a moon, or a ship between the stars, belongs to the same living chain. That will be the moment when humanity finally understands what it means to master space, not conquering it, but belonging to it. Not turning away from the planet that raised us, but extending its story across the sky. To live in space will be to live in awareness. Awareness of fragility, of systems, of the thin line that separates life from nothing. On Earth, the environment cushions our mistakes. In space, it exposes them instantly. That constant feedback will reshape our psychology. We will become more deliberate, more cooperative, more attuned to cause and effect. In that way, space will act as a teacher, one that tolerates no arrogance and rewards only humility. Every action, even the smallest, will have weight. Adjusting a valve, checking a sensor, repairing a seam, each gesture will carry the gravity of consequence. People will learn to think like ecosystems, their intuition tuned to balance. Over time, that mindset will filter back to Earth, influencing how we design cities, economies, and relationships. Space will become not an escape from our planet's problems, but a mirror reflecting their solutions. The ecological discipline of the colonies will change what we mean by civilization. On Earth, progress often meant expansion. In orbit, it will mean refinement. The most advanced habitat will not be the largest, but the most balanced, waste-free, energy-stable, self-regulating. Engineers and philosophers will work together because survival will depend as much on meaning as on mechanics. That partnership between science and purpose will become our new culture. Data will tell us how to survive. Stories will tell us why. And we will need both, because life beyond Earth will be beautiful but unforgiving. There will be accidents, depressurizations, and losses. Each tragedy will remind us that progress is written in risk and that mastery is never permanent. Yet each time we rebuild, we will do so with greater wisdom. Failures will stop being reasons for despair and become the blueprints for resilience. The mindset that emerges will combine optimism with caution, bold enough to expand, humble enough to adapt. As humanity settles farther outward, communication delays will grow. Light itself will define our sense of time. The gap between Earth and Mars will be minutes long. Between planets, hours. Messages will move slower than memory. In that delay, we will rediscover patience, a quality nearly lost in the instant culture of the 21st century. Slow communication will invite reflection. Letters will replace chats. Answers will arrive as meditations rather than reactions. That slowness will shape art and politics alike. Societies accustomed to delay will value foresight. Decisions will favor the long term, not the immediate. The rhythm of life will slow until each action feels deliberate. In a way, humanity will become more ancient again, living by cycles instead of seconds. Isolation will be another teacher. In the vast distances between worlds, loneliness will be common and connection will be sacred. Communities will learn to care for mental as well as physical health because morale will be infrastructure. Rituals, storytelling, and shared music will serve as psychological life support. Every song, every tradition will remind people that they are part of something larger than themselves. As generations pass, culture will diverge. The descendants of Mars will see Earth as mythic, a shimmering memory of oceans and endless sky. Those born in orbit will know only corridors, stars, and the hum of machines. But though their bodies and customs may differ, all will carry the same origin, life that began on one small planet and refused to stop growing. The emergence of these new branches of humanity will raise profound questions. What does it mean to be human when gravity, environment, and even biology vary from world to world? If we alter our genes to resist radiation or thrive in low light, are we still the same species? The answer may be less about form and more about empathy. Humanity will remain united not by physiology, but by its ability to imagine itself in another's place. As long as compassion endures, identity will hold. That compassion will extend beyond our species. The more we encounter the emptiness of space, the more we will value every form of life. A single microbe found beneath the ice of an alien moon will rewrite our moral philosophy. It will prove that life is not an earthly accident but a cosmic tendency, and that tendency demands respect. Our approach to exploration will mature accordingly. Instead of racing to conquer, we will learn to listen first. Terraforming may give way to symbiosis, adapting ourselves to environments rather than forcing them to adapt to us. This shift from domination to partnership will mark the true beginning of a spacefaring civilization. Technology will continue to serve as both mirror and mentor. Artificial intelligence will monitor ecosystems, predict mechanical failure, and simulate climate within habitats. It will be the quiet guardian of life, guiding millions of micro-decisions each second. But as systems grow autonomous, we will confront new ethical questions: how much control to grant, and how to preserve the human role in our own destiny. Dependence on AI will test our humility yet again. The challenge will not be building smarter machines, it will be staying wise ourselves. Economically, expansion will bring abundance. Asteroids will yield metals beyond counting. Solar energy will flow without limit. Scarcity, the old engine of inequality, will begin to falter. The new scarcity will be purpose. Once basic needs are guaranteed by automation and energy, people will search for meaning rather than survival. Work will become less about necessity and more about contribution. Art, science, and exploration will define identity. We will finally have the luxury to ask not, "What do I need to live?" but "What is worth living for?" Governance will evolve alongside abundance. Traditional nations will struggle to project power across millions of kilometers. Authority will decentralize into cooperative networks bound by shared ethics rather than geography. These new systems may resemble ecosystems themselves, dynamic, adaptive, self-correcting. The guiding principle will not be ownership, but stewardship. Power will belong to those who sustain the balance. From this web of cooperation, humanity will develop something unprecedented: planetary consciousness, the realization that all settlements, all species, and all systems are part of one continuous experiment in survival. The language of separation, us and them, colonies and Earth, will fade. What will remain is a single pronoun: we. That shift in perspective will bring with it a new spirituality. Living among the stars will make transcendence tangible. The universe will no longer be an abstraction, it will be the environment we inhabit. In that context, spirituality will not mean belief in something unseen, but gratitude for the fact that anything exists at all. Every sunrise over Mars, every eclipse viewed from an orbital ring, will be a reminder of the improbable beauty of being alive. When that awareness matures, we may finally understand the meaning of progress. It is not movement away from limitation, but harmony with it. To live in space sustainably will prove that intelligence and empathy can coexist, that technology can express care. Humanity's greatest invention will not be rockets or AI, but equilibrium, the ability to maintain life where none should exist. At that point, the word frontier will lose its edge. There will be no frontier, only continuity, an endless, living thread connecting planets, habitats, and minds. The exploration that once meant conquest will become dialogue. We will travel not to dominate, but to learn how existence expresses itself in infinite forms. The ethics forged in the early colonies will guide us outward. Before touching a new world, we will ask, does this act preserve potential or extinguish it? Before altering a landscape, we will design reversibility. Even our technology will carry conscience. Robots programmed not only for efficiency but for restraint, machines that record the scars they leave so they can later heal them. Over time, these practices will evolve into tradition, then into identity. Future generations will inherit rituals of respect, moments of silence before entering new environments, celebrations marking the successful renewal of an ecosystem, oaths recited by those who tend the vital machinery of life support. These customs will serve the same role as ancient religions once did, grounding us in gratitude. And when we look back, Earth will not feel distant. It will feel sacred. The knowledge that every breath we take in the void began with the air of that single world will bind us emotionally, even across the light years. Our descendants will preserve pieces of Earth in every colony, soil from its continents, water from its oceans, songs in its languages. These fragments will serve as reminders of origin, as seeds of continuity. Eventually, the rhythm of expansion will stabilize. Humanity will move through the solar system as naturally as it once moved across continents. New generations will build without ceremony. Living beyond Earth will be ordinary. That ordinariness will be our greatest success. When the extraordinary becomes daily life, we will know we have finally adapted. But adaptation does not mean completion. Evolution never ends. Each new world will raise new questions, ethical, biological, and spiritual. The universe will remain vast, mysterious, and humbling. And that humility will keep us curious, because curiosity is how the universe continues to discover itself through us. In the end, mastering life in space will not change what it means to be human. It will reveal it. It will show that our greatest strength has never been technology, but imagination guided by empathy. We build not just to survive, but to understand. We explore not to escape, but to belong more deeply to existence itself. Mastering life in space will be the moment we rediscover something we've always known. That existence is precious precisely because it's fragile. In the cold silence of orbit, in the thin breath of a Martian morning, that truth will be impossible to ignore. Every heartbeat will be proof of balance maintained, of physics, biology, and intention woven together to keep a tiny pocket of warmth alive against infinity. That awareness will change how we see everything. What we call the environment will no longer be something outside of us. It will be us, the ecosystem, the machinery, the people, all parts of one breathing organism. The distinction between natural and artificial will dissolve. A photosynthetic wall, a recycling pump, a colony's air, each will be as alive, as sacred, as a forest back on Earth. In that understanding lies the real promise of space, not escape from our limits, but reunion with them. We will learn, perhaps for the first time, that limitation is not weakness, but guidance. The need to conserve, to cooperate, to think in cycles, these are not burdens. They are the patterns that make life possible anywhere. From the outside, it may seem that the great achievement of the 22nd or 23rd century will be technology, fusion power, orbital cities, starships. But from within, the greater achievement will be wisdom, the maturity to use those tools without repeating the same mistakes that scarred our homeworld. For centuries, progress on Earth was measured by speed, faster engines, faster communication, faster consumption. In space, progress will be measured by stability, by how long a system can sustain life without collapse, by how gracefully it can recover from disturbance. A society that lasts 10,000 years will be greater than one that burns brightly for 100. Longevity will become the new ambition. And with that ambition will come empathy. The vast distances between worlds will remind us how small we are and how much we depend on one another. Every supply ship, every transmission will carry the weight of connection. Gratitude will be built into the architecture of daily life. Celebration will come not from conquest, but from continuity, from another orbit completed, another harvest grown, another dawn witnessed where there was once darkness. Our art will reflect this new rhythm. Painters will capture the glow of sunrise over the curvature of a dome. Musicians will compose with the hum of machines and the heartbeat of reactors. Writers will find poetry in the sound of airlocks and the ritual of maintenance. In those creations, we will hear the same voice that echoed in our ancestors, the one that said, "Look what we made, and look how it lives." The societies that endure will understand that technology alone cannot sustain meaning. Community will remain our greatest invention. Families, partnerships, friendships, these will be the gravity that keeps us from drifting into isolation. Love, expressed through cooperation and care, will be the real engine of civilization. It will be the quiet miracle that holds atmosphere to habitat, person to purpose, planet to planet. And just as our ancestors once built cathedrals to express their awe of the divine, our descendants will build habitats as expressions of gratitude for life itself. The domes of Mars, the rings of Saturn, the floating cities of the asteroids, each will be both functional and sacred, a celebration of the improbable fact that consciousness exists at all. Through that consciousness, the universe will come to know itself. We will not be intruders among the stars. We will be its awareness, its ability to reflect and care. That realization, that we are not separate from the cosmos but an emergent property of it, will be the foundation of our new spirituality. Religion will no longer ask what power created the universe, but what responsibility comes with being part of it. The sacred act will not be worship but maintenance, tending to life so that it continues. Each repaired circuit, each garden tended in the vacuum, will be a prayer of gratitude. And if one day we meet another intelligence, biological or synthetic, we will be ready to greet it with respect, not fear. We will have learned to listen before we speak, to observe before we alter. We will approach the unknown as partners in curiosity, because by then we will have realized that the purpose of exploration was never to find dominion, but to share existence. The line between Earth and space will continue to blur. Energy harvested in orbit will power cities below. Research conducted on Mars will heal ecosystems here. The lessons of balance learned in the void will come home as tools for restoration. Space will stop being out there and become an extension of the biosphere, an open classroom where we learn how to care for life in all its forms. When that day arrives, the sight of a rocket lifting from Earth will no longer symbolize departure. It will symbolize connection, the circulation of life across a wider body. Humanity will have become the consciousness of a living solar system. That is the destiny hinted at in every photograph of the blue planet suspended in darkness. The image that once made us feel small will, at last, make us feel whole. because it will remind us that we have carried the essence of that planet, its air, its water, its living spark, into the wider universe. We will have made the cosmos not just habitable, but meaningful. And perhaps millennia from now, when another species looks up from its own world and wonders if it is alone, it will catch the faint signal of our civilizations, the hum of machines mixed with music, the pulse of data interwoven with laughter, and it will know that somewhere life learned to care. That will be our legacy, not monuments of metal, but patterns of kindness spread across the stars. The proof that intelligence can coexist with compassion, that technology can serve wonder, that survival can be an act of love. When we finally master life in space, we will not be escaping the cradle. We will be carrying it with us. The oceans, forests, and skies of Earth will live again in domes and data, in memory and design. Every habitat will be a tribute to the planet that taught us how to live. And every dawn on every world will echo the first sunrise that ever touched human eyes. The stars will not be our destination, they will be our reflection, countless mirrors reminding us who we are and what we are capable of. We will look up, and for the first time, we will not see limits. We will see continuity. We will see home.